This account was sealed in the scrolls of history, not to be read aloud, not to be spoken lightly, but to be remembered. What you are about to hear was written before crowns were placed, before swords were raised, and before blood was ever spilled. This is not the story of a battle. This is the story of a delay. Israel had a king. His name was Saul. He stood taller than most men. He wore armor forged for war. His voice commanded armies, and his word once carried authority. But something was wrong in the kingdom. Victory no longer followed him. Peace no longer rested on his reign. And while Saul still ruled from the throne, God had already stepped away from it. Not loudly, not publicly, quietly, far from the palace, far from the guards and the banners, in a small house in Bethlehem. God chose another king. Samuel the prophet arrived with oil, not for a warrior, not for a prince, not for a general, but for a shepherd boy, the youngest, the overlooked, the one not even invited into the room, David. And as oil touched his head, the scrolls record something unseen. The Spirit of the Lord came upon him. Not tomorrow, not years later, that day. And then, nothing happened. David did not go to the palace. He did not receive a crown. He did not command an army. He returned to the fields, to sheep, to dust, to silence. Days turned into months, months into years. The anointing dried. The promise echoed but delayed. Then came Goliath. One stone, one moment, and suddenly David was known. Songs were sung.
Saul has killed his thousands, David his tens of thousands.
And that song pierced the heart of a king. Saul's love turned into suspicion. Suspicion into jealousy. Jealousy into rage.
Saul has killed in his thousands and David in his tens of thousands.
The scrolls say, an evil spirit troubled Saul, and David became the target. Spears were thrown. Traps were set. Loyalty was broken. David ran. From palace halls to dark caves. From praise to survival. From promise to pursuit. At night, David looked at the stars and remembered the oil, and he asked the question,
Lord, do not forsake me in times like this.
David hid among outcasts, men in debt, men in distress, men discontented with life. This was not the army of a king. This was the hiding place of a fugitive. Cold stone replaced soft beds. Fear replaced celebration. And yet, Saul could not catch him, because delay is not denial, and hiding is not abandonment. One night, Saul entered a cave alone, the very cave where David and his men were hiding. The guards stayed outside. The king was vulnerable. David's men whispered, "This is the moment. God has delivered him into your hands." The sword was close. One strike, 1 second, no more running, no more caves. But David stood still. He moved quietly, cut the edge of Saul's robe, and stepped back. When Saul left the cave, David called out to him, not with anger, not with vengeance, but with honor.
My lord, my king.
Saul looked back and saw proof of mercy in David's hand. And for a moment, the hunter wept. That day, David proved something greater than strength. He proved trust. The scrolls do not record David's patience as weakness. They seal it as qualification. Because God does not give crowns to those who seize them. He gives them to those who can wait. Some of you listening right now are living in the cave. You were promised something, but you are hidden. You were called, but delayed. And temptation whispers, take it yourself. But hear this truth. What you take early, you must defend alone. What God gives in time, he defends forever. David would become king, but not by bloodshed, not by rebellion, not by force. The throne waited for him, because he waited for God. The scroll is sealed. Not every victory requires a sword. Some are won by leaving it untouched. More accounts remain in the scrolls.